What's up, guys? This is John. Welcome back to my channel, Restless Riches. Today, we're going to follow up on yesterday's video about the $2,000 a month stimulus package. I'm going to go more in depth about the implications. Saw a comment from TD. This is for you. What will be the main effects of this package, such as inflation? We're going to get into all that coming up. But first, coffee. So, will the $2,000 a month EMPA program cause inflation? As a recap, the EMPA Emergency Money for the People Act was proposed on April 14th by California State Representative Khanna and Ohio Representative Tim Ryan. The act was proposed in order to provide cash payments to hardworking Americans who've either been laid off or having a hard time making ends meet due to, well, you all know what's going on right now. So while the CARES Act was a necessary first step, a lot of lawmakers in Washington D.C. fear it's not enough. It doesn't take a genius to figure out one $1,200 check per person is not going to tide people over for however many months this shelter-in-place order is going to last. Let's do a quick recap of what EMPA entails. To preface, EMPA is still just a proposal and hasn't been passed yet. Here are the steps the bill must go through in order to become a reality. This is bringing me back to 7th grade, like the Constitution test. So for those of you who aren't in 7th grade anymore, here's a little recap of how a bill is passed. So the first phase is to make its way through the House of Representatives first. This is the discussion phase, where House representatives decide whether this bill should even move on. They will also debate and make any necessary changes before they vote by majority rule as to whether or not the bill is good enough to make it to phase 2. So the second phase of passing a bill, that is going to the Senate. And then more or less the same thing happens, except now they're going to be a little bit more strict. They will argue way more, take much more time, and they're going to dissect and tear apart every single word to clarify any misinterpretations. If more than 50% of the Senate agrees, it goes on to phase 3. So the third and potential final phase of passing the bill is it goes to the president for approval. So he can either choose to sign it and then it becomes law, or he can choose not to sign it, and this is called a veto, which means he does not approve of it. In this case, it's going to go back to Congress. Now, ideally, he should provide feedback on why he's not going to approve it, and then if 2/3 of Congress approve it, they don't even need his signature anymore. He is overridden, and it will pass and become a law anyway, even if the president doesn't approve it, doesn't want to sign it. All right, so talking about the EMPA eligibility and terms, as of now, as it stands, about 90% of Americans would qualify for this. In order to be eligible, every American age 16 or older making $130,000 or less would receive $2,000 a month when the act goes into effect. This amount is double for married couples, providing they earn $260,000 or less. So in total, they would receive $4,000 a month. So qualifying families with children, as I discussed in my last video with Chloe and Colin, would receive $500 a month up to 3 children. So you can have 3. If you're thinking about having a 4th one now, maybe that'll play into your decision-making process. So for every $1,000 you make over the $130,000 limit, you're going to be reduced by $50 a month. So just by doing some quick math, if you earn over $170,000 or more a year, you wouldn't receive anything. These payments are all tax-free and are not recognized as income by the IRS. So if you had no earnings this year and are still unemployed, you are eligible for this. These benefits also apply to college students and adults with disabilities who are claimed as dependents by someone else. The language in the bill also extends some of the benefits to non-residents of the U.S., depending on if they meet certain qualifications. The U.S. government is also really getting with the times and will provide payments by...
Hi, I'm only calling because I'm interested in... Okay, for sure. Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Okay, cool, bye.
Unbelievably, the U.S. government is getting with the times and would even pay you through Zelle, Venmo, or PayPal, which is, 2020. So accompanying EMPA is the Rent and Mortgage Cancellation Act. This was introduced by Minnesota State Representative Ilhan Omar. This bill proposes to cancel rent and home mortgage payments throughout the entire duration of this epidemic. The bill clearly states that payment forgiveness will only extend to your primary residence and will not include other residents such as vacation homes, investment properties, and so on. If this bill goes into effect, consider this your opportunity as a first-time homebuyer to capitalize on buying your first home. So now, as TD was mentioning, what are the implications of this act? Because this obviously is not going to be cheap. So we've already mentioned that the benefits found in these two acts extend to over 90% of the people living in the United States of America. So let's take a closer look at the numbers so we can clearly see how all-encompassing these bills truly are, and help set the scene to discuss what some of the economic implications may be going forward. So according to Google, there are an estimated 328 million people who reside within the United States of America. If we exclude the 20% who are 15 years old or younger, as well as the 10% who make over $130,000 per year, we're left with about 224 million people who are eligible for the benefits these acts call on. Let's do a quick back-of-the-envelope calculation to see just how much these stimulus packages will cost the U.S. taxpayer each month. 224 million people multiplied by 2,000 per month works out to be approximately $448 billion per month. All right, so let's do some calculations. 448 billion, that's a lot of zeros. Million, billion, oh man, my Apple calculator does not even go that far. And we did that times 12 months. Oh, that's a lot of money. I don't even know if that's right. It's a lot of money, let's just put it like that. And according to the US debt clock, the US is currently in debt over $24 trillion. Man, the question then is, who's going to be paying for this in the long run? It's going to be an economic shell shock after this stimulus package has run its course. So the question is, will the economic bailout start a chain reaction that could cause massive hyperinflation? So you know, like where instead of a quarter, this coffee would cost $5. Only time will tell for sure, but some investors are pointing at the decade of low inflation since the last financial crisis started in 2008 as evidence that rock bottom interest rates, which we still have, huge asset purchase programs, and fiscal stimulus does not necessarily lead to runaway inflation. So my final recap, as this whole epidemic continues to spread, government is just whipping up bills like one after another to preserve what remains one of the best economies in the world. Some fear that this world record stimulus package could also bring forth record inflation, but time and time again, the Fed has shown us that they're very good at always meeting their 2% yearly inflation target, even in the worst of circumstances. So in terms of inflation, time will tell. So make sure you subscribe to get the latest updates from this channel. I will be updating my video release schedule to Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 3 p.m. Central. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you are alerted when these new videos come out. I will also start posting property tours as we all want to get our real estate fix. It is the spring market after all, but obviously a little bit difficult to do the in-person showings at the moment. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.